In the harshest corners of the north, where winter nights stretch for months and wind can slice through even the thickest walls, survival depended on more than just firewood and furs. It required ingenuity, an understanding of materials, and centuries of careful observation passed quietly from one generation to the next. Among the most remarkable yet overlooked solutions was a roofing technique developed by the Vikings and preserved by Arctic families for hundreds of years. This method wasn't flashy or immediately obvious, but it worked in ways that modern insulation often struggles to replicate. Today, we uncover the silent Viking roof trick Arctic families hid for centuries, exploring how it worked, why it mattered, and how its principles can still be applied today. The foundation of this trick was simple in concept but sophisticated in execution. Vikings built steeply pitched roofs with overlapping wooden planks, but the real secret lay in what they placed beneath those planks. Layers of moss, lichens, and even shredded bark were packed tightly to create a natural cushion and insulation barrier. Unlike modern synthetic insulation, this organic layering not only trapped heat but absorbed sound and reduced wind penetration. Storms that would rattle and whistle through poorly constructed buildings passed over these roofs almost silently. The combination of slope design and compressible organic materials created a roof that was resilient, quiet, and enduring under extreme Arctic conditions. This design served multiple purposes. Moss and lichen layers held moisture but prevented it from reaching the underlying timber, reducing rot and increasing the lifespan of the roof. They also acted as a living insulator, regulating internal temperatures in a way that modern fiberglass or foam often cannot mimic. The Vikings understood that success in extreme climates depended on leveraging local resources intelligently, not simply building thicker or taller structures. You might wonder why quiet roofs were a priority. In Arctic communities, particularly during long winters, even the smallest sounds could disrupt sleep, alert predators, or indicate structural weakness during storms. Families relied on sleep cycles to maintain health during extended periods of darkness. A roof that moved and rattled with every gust of wind not only caused physical stress, but also signaled vulnerabilities that could jeopardize survival. By designing roofs that absorbed and muffled these forces, Vikings and subsequent Arctic families created a subtle but powerful advantage, a shelter that felt secure, quiet, and resilient even in the worst weather. From a survivalist perspective, this principle can still be applied. When constructing cabins or shelters in windy environments, layering materials that can compress slightly under stress, such as straw, moss, or even modern natural fiber mats, can reduce noise and prevent structural strain, creating a safer and more comfortable living space. What made the Viking method sustainable was, well, the careful preparation of materials. Moss and lichens were harvested during the growing season, dried, and sometimes treated with just a minimal amount of water or salt to reduce decay. Shredded bark was gathered from birch and other hardy trees, then layered to add bulk and, airflow. Each layer was compressed but not overly tight, allowing the roof to flex slightly under heavy snow loads while still maintaining insulation and integrity. This careful layering technique ensured that the roof remained effective year after year with minimal maintenance. For modern applications, you can replicate this approach by using locally sourced, durable organic materials. Even in temperate climates, moss, straw, or dried leaves can serve as natural insulation when layered correctly beneath roofing boards. The key is creating a balance between compression for stability and just enough loft to trap air and resist wind intrusion. The silent roof trick didn't remain a Viking secret in isolation. It was quietly transmitted through generations, adapted for different local conditions. In Greenland, for instance, moss layers were doubled to cope with heavier snowfalls, while in northern Norway, birch bark layers were emphasized to manage moisture. Families maintained the roofs through seasonal inspections, replacing the topmost layer of moss or bark every few years, while leaving the deeper insulating layers intact. This maintenance cycle allowed structures to endure for decades, even centuries, with remarkably little active repair. From a historical perspective, this demonstrates the importance of practical observation over written instructions. Knowledge wasn't just theoretical, it was tested every winter and refined continuously. For anyone interested in long-lasting construction or survival shelters, the lesson is clear. Understand the materials you have, observe how they behave under stress, and adapt your methods accordingly. For modern survivalists, cabin builders, or historical reconstruction enthusiasts, the principles of this technique are still highly relevant. Start by selecting materials that are durable, locally available, and capable of compressing under weight while maintaining insulation. Layer them thoughtfully beneath roofing boards to provide both thermal and acoustic benefits. Consider the slope and overlap of your roof to, direct wind and water away effectively. Seasonal maintenance is crucial. Inspect and replace outer layers as needed, while preserving the core insulation. Even small cabins or garden shelters can benefit from these time-tested strategies, offering resilience in ways that synthetic alternatives sometimes cannot match. The silent Viking roof trick is more than a historical curiosity. It is a testament to human ingenuity and the practical knowledge that allowed Arctic families to survive and thrive in some of the planet's most unforgiving climates. By studying and applying these methods, modern builders and survival enthusiasts can achieve comfort, durability, and subtle efficiency that withstands time and the elements. If you found this insight into Viking ingenuity valuable, subscribe to In the Beginning and share it with fellow history enthusiasts. There are countless more survival secrets, forgotten construction techniques, and historical innovations waiting to be rediscovered, and you won't want to miss the next one.